This is the Buddy Rhodes Vertical Concrete Mix. And many people in the reptile hobby space have been using this to build custom reptile enclosures. So in this video, I'm going to learn how to use this and teach all of you guys how to use it so you can use real concrete and make your enclosures even cooler. And after I teach you and myself how to use this, we're going to fully dive into this and build a custom enclosure out of it. All right, I have gotten all of the materials I need. I also asked ChatGPT to ask me what ratios I need for the amount of concrete versus water versus the ramp cure glue stuff. I've also grabbed a few things like a tarp, and a few bottles, one for the ramp stuff if we end up doing, basically one coat and then another time with another if I run out of it or whatever. This will help it from the new stuff curing too quickly onto the old stuff and all that kind of stuff. It helps it stick and all that kind of stuff. Now, I don't have any currently, but at the end of this video, we will be trying on the stains. So I did buy 2 bottles to use for stains. But I don't have any right now because I didn't really know what I was getting into when I went to the store. And well, I definitely got stuff because, this, and I also got another thing for another video. I also got us a bucket for the Buddy Rhodes concrete mix. With that being said, we are going to dabble before we dive into it. So we are going to try to recreate a similar rock like this, including the thing I'm currently 3D printing back there, which is like a texture roller, and all that kind of stuff to see how close I can get to resembling this rock, and also just how to learn to use the medium. And then after we dabble with this rock, we will be diving into creating a faux rock for my aerator. Because currently the aerator is being covered by an ugly flower pot, and I want to change that to make it look as faux rock as possible, but to still have a big opening on the inside where this aerator can go. So with that being said, let's get this table all covered up. Let's start mixing and start dabbling with this concrete mix. Alright, no idea how quick this sets up, but we're going to throw some gloves on, and I'm going to grab out of my bag of mysteries a interesting piece of Pink Panther foam. We're going to carve this up just a little bit and we can get sculpting. I have a bunch of my sculpting stuff here, like a bunch of different scrapers, soft, hard scrapers. I also have my 3D printed roller. I also have a bunch of smaller type of like clay working stuff that I've done on other projects. So we're going to get this carved up really quickly and get to this because it's already starting to cure, because that's how concrete works. Well, as you can see, my dabbles went very well. The nice thing is a lot of the things I do are very imperfect, kind of sporadic, in the moment type of stuff. And this is what this is, like for nature is not perfect. You don't have perfectly straight lines, these are my rocks that I'm taking inspiration from. they're not perfect. You know, there's jagged edges, there's all this kind of stuff. So I'm aptly naming the first one I did, I'm calling it the heart, because it ended up just looking a little heart-shaped, which was kind of funny. And then we have the raptor claw, which was the second one I did. I wasn't planning on doing a second one, but I had enough concrete to do two. So I was like in my bag of excess scrap pieces and whatever, and I found this one. This was the second one I pulled out. I'm like, this is kind of cool. So we did it. This piece that I 3D printed worked well. But it was hard because it's not as very stark of a difference. When you roll things on or you vibrate it, it will smooth out because the water and stuff like that will become active and smooth out. That's how they smooth out normal concrete. So definitely have to do some adjustments with this, but with just the tools that I used, it worked out pretty well, and I'm very excited to see how these dry and see how these come up. Alright, these guys have been drying for a few hours. They look good. They're still moist, but I can at least touch them. And you know, they're not getting sticky on my hands. But one things I learned from doing this dabble is I'm gonna need some sort of structure, because if I do this and I cover the whole entire thing with dirt or clay or concrete, that's what this is, I am not going to be able to get any sort of layering texture like I did with the raptor claw one, because I don't have that support, or I do, you know, multiple different batches of concrete where I do one batch as, you know, the base layer building up a little bit, and then I do another one and do another one. First of all, that's going to take so much concrete, but also, you know, that's going to take so much time. So what I'm going to do right now while these are drying is basically build a framework from a lot of my scrap supplies like this one and create just levels of some sort on this side edge, and then when it comes time to do concrete tomorrow, it will be significantly easier, but I have to let this stuff, you know, the glue from this to this dry, so I won't be able to do it today, but we'll do it tomorrow, and we'll be able to get this thing fully set up. Alright, I've spent a little bit of time gluing up all these different pieces. Wow, that needs a little bit of extra glue on it. But anyways, this is just a rough representation of kind of what I want it to be. I want it to be kind of like a stack of rocks. It is going to be hard to make it fully real because it is so tall. It doesn't technically need to be this tall, but that's how I printed it, and I don't want to reprint it. So here we are. Looking back on these guys, they look really, really good, besides needing a little bit of pigmenting, which, you know, I'm going to get today, and we will test it out today while this is drying. But I'm going to really quick clean up all of these edges. Because it was flat on this board, I wasn't able to, you know, sculpt any of the edges and round them off a little bit. So it looks a little dumb on the edges, but we're going to clean that up. I have some files here that I'm going to clean it up with, and then we can move on to the dye. All right, we have mixed the concrete. I'm not going to show it again because I've already shown it. These look really good now that they've been kind of carved down and a little bit more rounded on the bottom. I'd put this in one of my enclosures. They look really, really cool. Next to do with these is obviously stain them and pigment them, but we have 3 times the amount of concrete in here, and we need to cover this thing. So that being said, let's get moving on this. Alright, well, it has been a few hours. This has set a good bit As you can see, a lot of the underside of these jagged rocks that I added with the foam weren't able to be fully covered up. So what I'm doing now is I'm gonna mix up a second set of concrete, a little bit less because I got most of it. And we're just gonna flip it over on its head here and be able to fill in all of these pieces. All right, well, this is thoroughly rock hard. And at the current state, it looks very, very good. But there are still two things that are missing from this actual thing. Finishing with like a wire drill bit and stuff like that to get all the little like bits and pieces that aren't fully smooth and just make it a little bit cleaner, and color. Now, I said I was going to paint these while this was drying, but unfortunately, every single thing I tried to order from the place that I got this from, or I got this concrete from, is sold out of it. They're on back order, so I might get them in a week, I might get them in 2 weeks, so I have no idea. So we are going to finish this up, and this is going to be the finished product for now. And when I do my full test of these with an enclosure, these will be my dabbles with color before I finish, the actual coloration for an enclosure. So with that being said, what I'm going to use for the cleanup of this is I have a wire brush drill bit attachment, a scouring pad to get off the flaky pieces so I don't rough it up too much with the wire brush attachment. And I also can do some minor sanding here or there, but I think I want to leave it without the sanding. Because again, rock is not perfect. Rock is very jagged and everything, so this looks really, really good right now, but let's make it a little bit better. Well, I hope this shows how ungodly humid it is out, because it is currently been raining non-stop for the past 4 days. It's 90 degrees outside and it's 81% humidity. It feels like Florida, and I don't live in Florida for a reason. All right, well, let's hope we don't fog up again. But these are the finished products. They're damp right now, so they might be a little bit darker than what I just showed you. But these are the finished product. They look really good. They're weirdly light, which is kind of the point of this, obviously, because it is just a foam insert and concrete around it. And of course, the big mamma jamma right here, it looks really, really, really good. And well, we will be adding it to the pond. All right, folks, obviously it's not colored, so it's not going to look perfect. But once I get the coloring in another video, I will be fixing this. So we are going to leave it at that. This now covers the aerators that go to this pond and the stock tank. Also, if you're wondering, the fish are doing great in here. They are growing quickly and they look really good. I wish you could see them, but they hide. And before I end today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon members that help me do everything here, including buy the materials for this project and buying the materials for other projects in the future. And they get bi-weekly videos about stuff that I do on this channel before it actually hits YouTube. But with that being said, that is going to do it for this video of All In Reptiles. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see more projects with this concrete and other types of building materials in the future that I'm going to be making, this stupid frickin' tree. If you want to see more building materials and all that kind of stuff, subscribe.